Famara.
Sorry, they told me. They told me to do that.
I gotta go. Bye.
Am I supposed to restart the spiel now?
No, that's fine.
I mean, I kind of missed it because I was so distracted by it.
Well, I was listening, and they're bad influences.
So you have our legal consent now to record us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm glad we're recording this part now. This is good. Okay. Anyway, as I was saying, session 3, you find ourselves back with the party, another day and another night passing, and we find ourselves awakening onto a blue sky day, as rare as those are here in modern Bergstrom. The crew gathers around a grand platter of sliced fruits, which is another very rare event here in Bergstrom, especially in northern Bergstrom, and apparently a celebration of the survival of the riders. You see Chief Amara looking over the slow roasting fruits as they kind of intermingle with the flames below. And she appears to be conducting almost a sort of prayer service. It's something that probably none of you are very familiar with. Even if you have been around the riders for a little bit of time, you may never have seen this. She says, "By his blessed name, we pray for the coming of a new age. An age for us, an age for the riders." And she sort of settles back down. You hear the entire, standing congregation that is the riders all around just sort of look up and look down and nod their heads and say, "Coming soon." What would you guys like to do?
Well, seeing that, I'm going to make note of what the hell that was about, because that was weird. And
I'm gonna close my eyes and kind of simultaneous prayer, but I'm gonna add my own prayers.
All right.
I'm gonna smell whatever food they're cooking and see if I can figure out if I've ever had it before based on the smell.
Okay. I'll say that, just approaching it and looking around, you can see that it's something very thinly sliced. It has a yellowish orange tint to the fruit itself. It looks like it may have once been peeled or had some, outer skin removed. It's hard to say. You're definitely not familiar with it, especially because most of the time you've spent even more north than this, and nothing grows up there. So,
yeah. Is anyone eating it, or is they just waiting?
They're waiting. It looks like, this, whatever the ceremony is, just now ended, and everyone is kind of now gathering around to maybe start eating it. You aren't sure.
I was gonna awkwardly kind of stand by the food and just see if a line forms or something, and just kind of
Okay, easy enough. What are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm gonna alchemy jug. I'm gonna get started here 2 minutes in the morning to get my my daily 4 gallons of beer cooked in case I need to, talk kindly with strangers, offer them booze. And then I'm going to, in my biker gear here, I'm going to take the bike that we have sort of left over, and I'm going to take the Steel Defender out and prop him out. And as he sort of exposes all of his tools, like a multi-tool, I'm going to start trying to clean up this bike and trying to make sure it doesn't have any damage from the rain and the trip and whatnot. I'm gonna try to fix it up a little bit more.
Okay, go ahead and roll a tinkering check for
that. 19.
19. Yeah, with the help of your little gadget here, you're able to go through some of the parts, and you actually do find that one of these two sort of interlocked cask systems that hold these liquids was almost kind of loose, so you tighten that back up. You aren't sure if it would own a problem, but you make sure everything's tip-top shape.
Hell yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Garrick, where is your character at when you're doing this brewing?
Well, Ileana sort of passed out last night around where the tinkering was going on, and she woke up again, so in that area, I guess. I don't know. I know we're sort of all squished together in a bit of a shaded area.
Well, a more pertinent drill down is, am I within eye shot when you're doing that?
Oh,
I
for
don't
sure.
know.
I'm for sure not hiding it. I will say.
Okay, so to kind of rewind a little bit, when you start doing that, I'm going to grudgingly come over and what are you making there? I look really curious.
I'm not making anything. I'm just touching up what is broken. Would you like me to make you something? I have a multitude of tools here.
I'm like smelling the brew. I dabble a little bit in the alchemic arts.
Oh, you do.
I admit that I was a little curious about what you're making.
Well, my first day with the riders, I inspected this little machine, and so far I've gotten a bit curious about them and their interesting alchemical process. So I'm inspecting it more, fine-tuning it, and making it, I'm making it our home for all of us on the road if we need it.
It certainly smells good.
Yes, I'm sure I can cook up just about anything you people want, liquid-wise, but so far you seem to be enjoying the ale, so I will keep that coming. Did you come over here for any sort of specific issue?
Just to see what you're making. I myself dabble in potions, healing potions, antitoxins, things of that nature. But a good brew is always intriguing. And I'm kind of saying this in a manner that's I'm kind of opening up a little bit, but guarded.
Huh. Well, I'll have you know that when it comes to not particularly brewing, but alchemical brewing, I have been told I have some of the best tools around.
That's very intriguing. I'm not familiar, more familiar with the old school way, but perhaps when we have more time, you could show me some more. And then I'm going to make a kind of a hasty getaway while my pride is still intact.
I'm just gonna be like, nod, keep working on the bike.
Eric, did you roll this morning?
Absolutely.
Okay, just making sure. All right, so the other two of you, what are you guys doing?
I will approach the chief who is leading this ceremony and just
Amara?
sit next to her almost silently. And as she's eating, I'll just sort of lean over. That was a very nice ceremony that you led earlier this morning.
Thank you. It is with a great deal of humble thanks that we survived the last night, especially with your coming so recently. Without your help, I fear that none of us would have been here to enjoy this fruit. So it takes a very small bite of the fruit. It seems like everyone who's eating it is like eating it in very small bites, as it's like such a treasured thing.
I must say, I never picked you for a religious person.
I'm not sure how to take this. It is true that I am.
And which deity do you worship?
She like takes a moment, kind of like appraises you once more. Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Oh yeah. 17.
It is foolish to pray to the gods. They are dead and gone, hidden away. The only thing that can answer is the earth itself.
So you have reverence for the earth. Rather, you give thanks to the land.
I am very tired this morning, but and she like kind of gestures to the fruit and then raises her right hand, and you see kind of curling up this sort of like darkened root that cuts into like this almost black flower that slowly blooms in front of you, a small fruit inside.
Well, that is interesting. Quite a rare gift, I must assume.
For the chief of the writers, it is a gift that is given, but there are those who attempt to take it, and for them, yes, it is very difficult. But those who are open, the earth will come.
I pluck the second fruit from the tree, and I just crack it open, and I start to snack on it, just silently sitting there.
Okay. Have you tried any of the cooked fruit, or you just eat the raw one?
Oh, I just eat the raw one. I'm not familiar with the customs of these
Okay,
riders.
so you try to bite into it, and it is hard as a rock. You take this moment to like remove it from your mouth awkwardly, and Chief Amara like lets out a little giggle and then just like points to the fire.
It seems your earth has made a fool of me. And I get up and I hobble over to the fire and I start to roast this fruit.
Okay, she calls back over you. Not very. She is smarter than anyone could hope to be.
I chuckle. I chuckle and I do not elaborate to her. And I just roast my fruit and I eat it, observing the rituals of the riders around me.
Okay, nice.
Studying them.
Okay, eat that too. Aiken.
Okay. I would, after this, little shindig, I would like to meet up with Elray, or Sniper as she likes to go by.
Yep.
Just look for her real quick.
No problem. You find her.
Cool. Just be like, so you have a plan right now? What are we doing here?
The plan is developing. I have hopes that the device would be destroyed in the storm and the aftermath, but I think now that these people are, and she like looks around at like almost the congregation here that all just had this weird like spiritual moment and says, I do not think that removing the device is sufficient. They will just find another way. We must change their hearts.
With words or actions?
At this point, you see Sniper kind of like lean back and then just like brush past you and says, do I have to answer every question for you?
Kinda. We're both doing this together. It's
Then can you maybe help out?
Cool. Yeah, I can. And I'm just gonna.
And then she like turns back and like bumps into you again and puts a finger in your chest and says, and maybe for your outdate, you can stop hanging out with the murderer of my husband.
Okay.
I see you all together.
Okay. Yeah, whatever you say, all right.
She just walks off. as you're all going about these activities. I'll say that each of you kind of takes a moment of pause, and in this moment, if you could all roll perception checks for me.
A natural 20
That'll work.
as I'm eating this fruit.
Okay. Anybody else over 15? Okay. In that case, Taylooms, with your pretty incredible vision and your knack for paying attention to the world around you that has kept you alive for thus long, you're sort of sitting there, but you're always sort of gazing off at the horizon. And I will say that you believed yourself to be the first in the camp to notice an approaching vehicle. Initially, you can't make it out, but eventually you do, and it is the war machine, but it has been augmented and appears to be used, or to be being used currently, as sort of a moving throne. At its center, you see a sort of gilded and robed kobold. His skin is sort of light green, a lot different than a lot of the kobolds you've seen from around here. He has this wicked looking red and gold crown sitting on his head that comes up into a point in the back. These robes, obviously never originally from down here, have not been washed very well, but you can see it there once with a very fine material clinging to his scales around his body. He holds a scepter up above him and looks a little bit something like this guy.
Cool. Is the thing moving fast?
Not particularly fast, maybe.
Like it doesn't look like it's coming for war or anything. It's not like.
Yeah, I mean, you're not sure what it's coming for, but it's definitely, I mean, you think it's moving faster than you could run, but not by much.
Okay, I'm gonna like kind of choke down the food and then kind of I'm gonna try to grab like 2 or 3 more pieces if I can of fruit, and then just kind of like stuff it in my and I'm gonna look for goal.
Okay, I would say it's easy enough for you to find him.
Seems our friends maybe found us again. And I kind of gesture over and like look up over. The war machine is coming this way. You muted, Dan.
I saw that. Lay low. Let it come to us.
What of the others? Do I see anybody else? Anyone else in our crew?
Yeah, you could probably see them around.
If I see anyone and they're like at a distance, I'll be like, and just kind of like nod at them and then point to the like war machine in that direction, or just in one way or another, I kind of gesture to everybody in the group if they can see me at some point, like this thing is coming. And I'll probably disappear. Like I guess I'll stay close-ish to Gaul and just kind of like see what happens, I guess.
Okay, very nice. I will say that looking up next to this approaching, basically mechanical wagon, it seems they've converted it into at this point, what appear to be 2 dwarves, both of them looking to be women. And I will say that at least a couple of you recognize these to be Triana and Elisha Yanellis, the dwarf slaves that were being held by the riders until presumably they escaped, probably during the gigantic storm effort thing.
I kind of look at Goal after seeing these dwarves. Slaves still, it appears. Are they like in chains or anything, or like?
Doesn't look like it.
Hard to say.
Maybe they do better than on their own than we thought.
All right. I'll say if you guys don't do anything else, you quickly see what is now approaching you develop into the kobold king in the center, sort of flanked by these two dwarves, and then surrounded by three what appear to be shamans of some kind, holding elaborate staves of bone work and cruelty that cut into these different plumes of smoke and fire at their tops. And they look something like these guys.
How far away are they at this point?
Probably still another 800 feet, maybe.
Is that half orc dude around?
The half orc slave that you met?
Yeah.
Looking around, you do see him, yes. He appears to be like helping out.
Do they seem like they're even taking note of this giant war machine coming?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, everyone's looking up and seeing the war machine coming.
Do they seem concerned or just intrigued?
No one seems like openly like, oh my God, we need to go attack these things and not die. But they definitely seem more concerned than intrigued.
Okay.
As everyone's sort of like just kind of staring, I'm gonna use this time to I'm gonna hop, like unbeknownst to everyone else, I'm gonna hop on and rev the engine of the bike, and I'm sort of gonna like whip around and go. I say we meet them before they get to us.
Is the trailer still attached to your bike, to the bike thing?
For sure.
Probably.
Got plenty of room for y'all.
I think we're safer here. Do you know something about these approaching green things that we don't?
I know it's better not to fight with your backups against the wall if you can help it.
I'm gonna look around. I don't see a wall. Like quite literally.
Well, if you happen to know any of them and would love to go say hello, then I think you should use this time to do so.
Logan, I know about those guys, right? Like I know about their clan and like how vicious and stuff they are.
Yeah, they're like notably vicious. You know this about them. They're like, definitely crazy people.
Have I ever like tried to deal with them before? Like are they very cooperative when it comes to like negotiating or anything like that?
You're not really familiar with working them with them directly. Like you probably just avoided them, trying not to die. But you think that there's a possibility. I mean, you don't think that they're like animals. I mean, they can definitely make trades and stuff, but you've never had any experience doing it.
Talon does not know what we should do with this one. Those kobold are very dangerous. This is not our fight. But he looks at Goal. I'm surprised you do not want to go where the wind takes you.
Looks like the wind is blowing our way right now. But what do you think?
I get my axe off my back.
I
Talon is
suppose
comfortable here.
point, if you're going to have to use that here or there, maybe better there. But I suppose I question if you'll have to use it at all.
Toril, are you like nearby as well? And Aiken?
I'm nearby. I'm just watching you, and I'm like looking back and forth as people talk and nibbling on this sweet fruit.
I would assume I'm in earshot and eye shot.
What do you think, Toril? You want to talk to Kobold? Or wait and see?
Talking is perhaps the strongest skill in our arsenal, but I question whether we are truly the best representatives of the riders. This seems like a job more well suited for the chief.
All right, I'll say they're almost there now. What are you guys
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, sorry, I waited too long. I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna go out there on my own then. I'm gonna go snap the goggles on my face and I'll go meet him myself.
She floors it, and Kaylin's kind of like, that woman is going to get herself killed.
I will say that the caravan approaching, as you now make it out to be, stops. The king says a word in Draconic. Do you speak Draconic?
I do.
Okay. You hear it as, pause, wait a second, basically.
I hear this hint of Draconic, and so that's now how I'm going to address them in said language until. And I'm just gonna come to a stop, kicking up dust in front of me. Hello. What's all this?
You say this in Draconic?
Yeah.
All right, they reply in Draconic. I am making my conquest here. You see, I have evidence that they are holding slaves. The rest of you, if you don't speak Draconic, hear this as
I
I'm
respond
gonna
in
look
a
at Goal really quick and say she's going to get killed, and I'm gonna push my way through to try to make my way up there. And then as I'm making my way through, I'm gonna look back at Goal and say, and she has the ale, and keep pushing my way through to try to get there.
And I don't even let you get 5 feet from me. I just kind of roll my eyes and start towards you.
I'm gonna respond in a very thick Draconic accent, so it sounds like me just kind of going like.
Amazing.
I'm just gonna say, oh, well, I can't speak for everyone here, but I'm not sure if you got the right place. You see, in fact, I knew 2 slaves recently who were freed by the most recent uprooting, and I think these others may have as well. These dwarven women, I think I recall seeing them in my time at the camp.
One of the women, you probably don't know which one's which, steps forward and says, "Oh, you saw us at the camp and we were still locked up, weren't we?"
Yes, I spoke to you for about a moment, around you for about a moment. I apologize for any inconvenience. While they may have had various captives before, I do not think at the moment we have to worry about that any further. So your attempts will be not met well, I can promise, but it will end ultimately in futile nature because, well, in fact, they don't even follow their own slaving rule anymore. It's not like that here.
The king looks confused and then says, "So you would just have me forget that they owned these slaves, that they were treating these people in this way?"
Have you ever heard the terminology, perhaps it's not a saying in Draconic, that if one seeks revenge, you should dig 2 graves? Well, I'm afraid that's exactly what's going to happen today. I'm afraid they will be digging a grave for myself and for yours truly, Majesty. These people are not to be trifled with, and from the looks of you, neither are you. So I'm afraid all I can ask is we both move on with our separate lives. In fact, you look to be doing quite well in your new homes, I say to the dwarves.
Roll an intimidation check.
It's weird because it's not a usual intimidation check where I'm like, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, we're both going to die.
Yeah, but you're still intimidating them with the thought of death.
16.
16. The king sort of settles back into his throne and says, So you're just as bad as them, then. Well, a man who stands for slavery is as bad as one who holds a slave. Proceed, he says, draconic to the people around him. You see the war machine start rolling forward again.
Shit! And I'm gonna fucking spin that boy around right on back, and I'm gonna start yelling. I'm like, they're coming! I tried reasoning with them.
Yeah, I'll say you get about halfway there. You meet Talum and Gol as they're like running out to help you, and then
Could I theoretically, as I'm riding away, you know, the desert being as it is, dusty, perhaps try to sneak and drop my little steel defender into the dirt, and when they come by with the war machine, he could possibly try to latch on as it drives over?
yeah, sure. Roll a sleight of hand check.
Okay, yeah, nope. I got a 5, so maybe the desert was not as dusty as I previously thought.
A 5, very nice. Immediately when this thing is dropped, you kind of like bumble with it, drop it on the ground, and you see all 3 of the shamans lift their staves and all are going to cast a flame jet at it.
R.I.P. Steel Defender.
22, 17, 15.
Does defense win out in armor class?
It does in my
So
rules.
15 is a no-go. That one is his armor class. Otherwise, the 2 others hit.
Very nice. Okay. So the first one does 6 points, and the second one does 4 points, totaling 10 points of fire damage.
Oh, sick. He's still alive.
I'll say that your minion is made of enough metal to not be flammable.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Makes sense.
In that case, does it do anything? Do you guys retaliate? You guys are, fairly far away.
So did I get it like out of my hands and I like dropped it as it went past?
Yes.
Shit. Okay, well, he's gonna commit. He's already halfway there. So I want him to sort of like fall on the ground and like try to get the Actually, I don't know what this war machine looks like. Could one reasonably fit underneath it?
Let me pull it up real quick for you. Okay, Kobold War Machine. So I would say, yes, he could probably go underneath it.
All right, that's what he's gonna do. He is gonna drop to the ground. He's gonna pull his punching arm out, and he's gonna get ready to start fucking with the machinery of this war machine. And then with like out of another sort of like panel comes this small welding torch, and he's just gonna slowly start healing himself up. Because he can use he has this action called repair, which he can use 3 times a day. So I'm gonna have him do that on himself at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say. Does it have like skills, like checks?
It does
things?
actually. Yeah, that's
Okay.
like
I would like a dexterity check from it. Does it attempt to like cling to the bottom of this thing initiative first?
Check or save it. It would be check.
Check. Yeah.
Okay. So that is a natural 1. I think I just got my steel defender ran over.
It sort of leaps up and just boom, collides with the front of this thing, not timing it properly. And it is going to suffer.
Poor dude.
Oh, no. That's 7 points of damage as it just collides with the top of this, or the bottom of this war machine.
He's a little woozy at the moment. But he's alive.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna wait to tell him what to do until if we're committing to this fight here. Like if we're not, I'm gonna have him slow down. But
okay, I will say that as this is happening, you see the shamans already having kicked into action, shooting this fire, still seem like at attention and seem to continue to want to. At the same moment, you see the king pull down two ropes you hadn't previously noticed, and they're connected to what appear to be overhangs built into this war machine, probably by their own design. And they'll kick out over top of them, preventing the sunlight from affecting the kobolds negatively.
Nice.
Huh.
I'm speeding back.
Mm-hmm.
Can we hop on his speeder as he's going by?
Do you slow down at all?
I'm like sort of like,
I'm just gonna be like shouting at him, like, I told you, what are you doing?
oh, what's happening? I mean, if they would like to, I'll stop for him, or I'll try without hitting him. I haven't been rolling too well.
In that case, yeah, no problem. You can just, I'll hop on.
I assume that Toril and I are just still sitting there, just like watching. I don't know.
You tell me. What are you doing?
I turned to Aiken. Have you tried this fruit? It is surprisingly good.
I have not. No. Do you eat the cold part, or
No, you should not try it cold. Always try it hot.
Yeah, I'll say, Toril, at some point you were able to realize that apparently these take 6 hours to roast. So the one that you had just put in the fire, you have to wait 6 hours to eat. So
Yeah,
someone just gave you some other ones.
They've got these nice racks going, and I just found a stick and put it on it and sort of leaned it over the fire there.
Oh,
It's
well,
just sitting there.
I actually imagine them like in the coals of the flame.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, Toril doesn't understand that, so he's got his on a little stick.
Then it'll take even longer than 6 hours.
I'm not used to these rider customs.
you and me both?
Looks like some trouble happening out there. There's that flame I see. My.
Yeah. They got cool little shadow things. Did you see that? That just fell off the top. What is that?
What an adventure.
Should we do something?
Is it our place? I am unsure, but perhaps our friends do need a spot of help. Perhaps cooler heads will prevail. I just sort of I start to hobble over. I'm very slow going, but I'm
I
making
see
my
you
way
like start to stand up, and I'm like, oh, do we need,
Oh,
like
no,
reaching
I'm
my hands up.
stronger than I look.
I can respect that.
I'll say at this point, Chief Amara is like making her way out also to meet this war machine. Is anyone else like confronting it in any way?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stand there like I've crossed the line in the sand as they pull up.
So if I hop on the speeder thing, we fly past you.
Oh, you're gonna hop on the speeder? I thought that he was going too fast.
No, he slowed down to stop for you.
Oh, no, I'm kind of following suit with Taylor right now.
Jim?
Oh, Chief, as we walk together, perhaps you can tell me more of your powers. I'm quite fascinated. I just ask her nonsensical questions as we make our way out to this.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that she gives you like one or two answers, and then she says, "Is this what is the time for this? I don't even know what that is."
Well, considering that we are going to confront a war machine, perhaps this is the only chance we will get.
I think that's very unlikely. They are not the ones to attack. They are here to make a deal.
Oh, well, that's better than an attack.
She looks over, stares you blankly, actually stops walking for a second, and says, No, it is not.
What do they wish to trade?
She seems to ponder the word. She says, "Is there a good word for this in common? Genocide."
How can one trade a genocide?
She just keeps walking. Pretty soon, I'll say that the whole of the party can be where they're going. So are you going all to meet the war machine, or are you going back to the camp? Where does everyone wish to be now?
I'm now just following the chief. Wherever she goes, I'm going.
She's definitely going to the war machine.
I'm picking up the boys, and we're gonna
Yeah, I'm
go
going with
fight.
Toro.
Okay. I'll say that eventually Chief Amara makes it to the frontier, and she says, "Stop this nonsense. I do not. Please, can we please just have a conversation?" And you see the Kobold King like lean forward, like seeming like very proud of himself that she has said this to him. And you see Amara looks like horrified at having to have this, even this minor concession. And the Kobold King leans forward. "That is a great idea. I was thinking you could do a little something for us." Chief Amara says, "Of course you were. You are always such a fantastic negotiator." He looks back. "Well, I wouldn't say fantastic. Maybe the best." And all the other kobolds around kind of like get this like caucus with the excuse for laughter that comes from their sort of genetics there. And then you see the kobold leader lead in once more. This time you see the two dwarves on the other side flanking and like looking like frustrated and confused. Obviously not what they were going for when they probably informed them of the slavery. He says, "Does this tribe, another offshoot of my kin, rightfully under my rule? And they've broken one too many rules, the last of which is going to be their demise." Chief Mara says, "Of course, it is most horrible that they are being this way to you. I would be happy to get some of my riders to investigate the atrocities against your rules." And the kobold says, "That sounds magnificent. If you don't mind, could you at least be quick about it this time?" And now you see one of the dwarfs finally pipes up and says, "Is this some kind of joke?" And then I says, "Oh, you gotta be out of your mind. We just told you we've been locked up in this goddamn place." And you see the kobold just like rotate his hand and the machine begins slowly turning. The dwarves keep bickering up towards the king, who has apparently, not met their satisfactory wishes when it came to this engagement. Are any of you guys doing anything?
I'm listening, and at some point I cross my hands when the dwarves say that. I kind of start snickering.
Okay.
I'm just like dumbfounded, like that's what I thought they were going to kill us.
Chief Amaro looks over to you and says, "The Dagantus Raiders may not be the most appropriately named. They are shrewd negotiators, and they have a way to use their leverage to control ourselves. They have power over us from an agreement that was made between the Raiders and the Dragontus Raiders some time ago."
And what binds you to this agreement?
Funny that you should ask. It is the very same energy that we were discussing as we approached. She seems like gesture her hand in the same motion as when she made the plant earlier.
Now that is interesting.
I'm missing something.
Nothing important. It is just an engagement that cannot be broken. At least not for me.
I'm gonna nudge Taylum and I'm gonna say, look at the slave traders sweat about the idea of somebody pushing them about slavery. This is fun to watch.
Caleb would find more comfort if we weren't in the middle of it. But yes, justice in some ways.
Oh, my friend, we're off to the side at the best. Let them do what they will. We can intervene when we feel necessary.
I kind of like take my axe and like put it blade down in the dirt and kind of like crack my knuckles. Salem was hoping to see maybe some action, not going to lie. Kind of pops his back a little bit.
I have to agree, Taylum. And then I'm just gonna like sink the alchemy jug into your chest.
Well, I won't lie, my friend. The thought of some good hand-to-hand action sounds intriguing. And with that, I'm going to start stretching. I'm going to just bend right at the waist, all the way down to where my head's basically at my feet. I'm going to start stretching out my hamstrings and my body. I'm going to start going through these katas to stretch without making it look too obvious that I'm doing so.
I look at all of them and I sort of smirk as I'm watching them and I'm listening to these comments, and then I turn to the chief. Chief, perhaps we could come to an agreement. We have no such reliance on binding clauses as you. Perhaps we could solve this kobold situation, and in return you could do us a favor or two.
But be willing to hunt down these Skaltanalaurs.
I don't know what that is.
She like shakes her head. The Skaltanalaurs, they are the sworn enemies of the Dragon-Tooth Raiders. That is who they are sent to kill.
Oh, no, I am talking about removing the Dragon-Tooth Riders from power.
This like you can almost see like a bit of shock cross over her face. That is not possible. They are from the pits of despair. It's too dangerous.
Oh
Do
no,
you see
no.
do you see any pitch of despair around here?
I fear it is entirely possible. However, we may need a war machine of our own.
A war machine? That's not how it is. If I had a war machine, I would tell you to not have to
Perhaps
do this.
the spoils could go to us. We take that war machine. You promise to stop your slaving ways, and
Oh no, that is not possible. They are necessary.
would it be so necessary without this Dragon-Tooth clan in the picture?
I'm afraid that is so, Toriel.
I stamp my staff and sit down.
Okay. She doesn't know how to take this, then like looks from one to another. This is a matter of the Raiders. You are newcomers. Do not worry yourselves with it. The pits of despair. She like shakes her head and starts walking away.
Perhaps I would like to be involved with the pits of despair.
She looks over a bit like eagerly, almost like she wanted this to happen. Oh no, it is too dangerous. Even for strong adventurers such as yourselves and resourceful ones. She kind of like pats Toril as he's sitting there next to her.
Now, hold on a second. I am very strong, number one. I'm much stronger than I appear. As I say that, I sort of stagger to my feet and start breathing heavily. Where was I? Ah, yes. But it seems like this Dragon Tooth clan is no fan of slavers, and perhaps they would value our services more. I'm going after them. I just sort of stumble in towards them.
Where is he in relation to me and Talum?
Right next to you.
Oh, I want to say, Father T has a point. And I'm gonna kind of take you by your arm, kind of the bouncing way, and start walking with you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna turn to Amara and I'm gonna say, I'll handle this. We'll be back in a bit.
Taylor doesn't even say anything. He's just like continuing to kind of like drink as he just follows goal.
I'm gonna go forward, drive up next to the boys here, and I'm gonna say, hop on. We can go talk somewhere else.
I'm a bit winded, so I'll hop on.
I'm gonna help.
Only
I'll
20
kind of
feet.
help Father T onto the trailer, and then I'll get on.
And
I'll give Talum a hand, pull him up.
Aiken, are you getting on as well?
Well, I'm gonna reach out and pull Talum, but I'll be like, oh, and then I'm gonna take my second hand, pull him up, because he's a big son of a bitch.
All right. Aiken, are you hopping on as well?
Yeah, I'm getting my bow and arrow ready, just restringing it, and
All right.
I want to make sure to grab my wounded steel defender as I swing by and like put him back on, and he is gonna continue to repair himself from the damages.
Okay.
your tiny metal boy, okay?
Where are you putting it specifically? Like in the back with us? Or
No, I'm
like,
putting it
riding
in
with you?
front, and if possible, I would like to have him help me drive if needed. However, at the immediate moment, he's healing himself as much as he can. 4, 6. That brings
I
him
think
to
I am gonna grab a
15.
beer really quick. It sounds really good. So I'll be back in like 30
Oh,
seconds.
I need a
60
refill.
seconds.
So good timing.
Yeah, I brought him back to max, and I'm sitting him in front of me here.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice. You can see him like slowly peel his own bits of metal like back into shape, like a little bit of welding here and there. And it's like he was never any damage had been taken.
I'm like, buddy, as soon as we get the point to rest, I'll fix you up myself. But I appreciate your own, self-reliance.
Its legs like extend a little bit and it whirls around in a circle as if excited to be fully repaired.
My dog is also with me, Proteus.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Proteus kind of like unfolds like accordion style next to you.
Very nice.
You see he like puts his nose to the ground, but you're not sure it can really like smell without a nose, but it just kind of does maybe habitually.
That's my boy.
I need to get some books. I doubt there are many down here, but perhaps I will stumble across a library that dropped from the sky.
You beat me.
Does the Toro have many books with him?
Once I had many books. Now all I have is this book, and it's the one I fill up with my own writing. Although it may not compare to the scholars, it is an interesting tale thus far.
The scholars. Talum has a book too, not unlike yours. Very shiny. Came from up above too. Dalem writes things in there, what he's thinking, who he meets, the friends he makes.
Well, Talem, someday I would very much like to read your writing.
I would like to find a preferably hilly spot for us to all drive to, and I would like to stop and we can have a bit to chat away from the camp.
I will say that's very easy to do.
As soon as I shut off the engine, I turn around and I go, just so you're all aware, none of you are allowed to touch my things, especially not my book.
I don't say anything, but I give you a look.
I give Toro a look too and kind of grin and
Right. I believe right before we left camp, one of you just threatened to divert from the riders and help out the kobolds.
what?
It
I,
seems that the kobolds are against slavery, and Father T here seems to fall in line with that, and I frankly agree with him.
I understand. However, if we all recall the reason we were all brought together in the first place, how are we supposed to stop the riders from their atrocities if we ditch them and hang out with the other side?
Perhaps with the other side could be an asset to removing the city destroyer from the riders.
Can I have, judging off of what I saw this kobold leader say and do, does he seem like someone to be able to be negotiated with, like genuinely?
I mean, he basically just entered their camp, told them, "You're going to do this thing for me," and the writer said yes. So in that much of a way, I would say, yeah. I mean, he seems like a shrewd negotiator from your perspective.
Okay. Point made. However, if we examine both sides, one is very obvious in possibly finding our way upon one of the flying cities. I don't know if I can say that as much for the Dragon Tooth Raiders.
What makes you think elves can bring us to the city?
Well, the very fact they want to destroy it, you can say, of course, we can go scout out a proper location for you, amongst building their bombs. You sneak into the city, you do the things you need to do. And I, for one, would like to get up to the cities. And I, for one, would like to lie to the raiders to help me get up there.
But Talum thought the weapon shot up at the city.
Yes, of course, but you can always extort people for what you want. Not that that is what I do all the time. Not necessarily. I just
kind of
meant.
looks down at the ale that he's drinking.
Sorry.
I just meant that when people want something, you can often leverage that to get what you want as well.
So your plan is to shoot yourself at the city?
Myself? No, I think you're misunderstanding the steps. At some point, I was planning to recommend a covert operation into the city to make sure they have no anti-air defenses. And I was going to use that trip as an excuse to get up there.
And how do you think the raiders would get you up there? If they could get up there, do you not think they would take themselves up there?
Well, the resources they have at their disposal are rather impressive. You see, these bikes work on a chemical formula that keeps them hovering. If I theoretically could produce this formula at an extended rate for a limited amount of time, projected upwards as opposed to horizontally, we could get there. And I was going to propose that if we could work with the riders for a long amount of time, building credibility. And credibility is not built while we threaten to jump ship constantly.
You say we a lot.
Oh,
You haven't
I
really
agree
said
with
much
that.
of anything that I align with.
you people are a bit more paranoid than you need to be with me. Look, I'm rather open. I tell you these things. I was telling you my plans earlier about the riders. I'm not trying to lie to all of you. Right? Look, I've provided my alcohol on 2 separate occasions. If we just work together, we will have common goals, I'm sure. I'm against slavery. Avidly, I promise. I'm just trying to side with the more impressive beast here. And the Dragon Tooth Raiders just don't seem to be that.
Well, I will admit, if working with you helps to cut down even a small amount of slavery, that would be a good thing. But I myself just came from the cities willingly. They're not all that cracked up to be, but suit yourself if you want to go up.
Goal, may I ask exactly what you're looking for? For down here in the future, what exactly are you moving towards?
Self-enlightenment.
Right, well, I conveniently myself need to be enlightened. However, the cities need to be traveled to in order to do that. There is nuance to this conversation, is what I'm saying. Slavery is bad, yes, that is very black and white. However, what we want is nuanced. Self-enlightenment galore, my friend, I promise you. However, if we are all to reach enlightenment, we all must work together. To that I recommend not jumping ship quite yet.
I'm going to look over at Father T.
Father T is trained very hard to have no reaction to anything anyone is saying. He's just looking back and forth.
And then I'm going to look at Talum. Yes.
Talum knows the answer to this. Both the Dragon Tooth and the elves are shit.
Precisely.
With either one, we will be killing ourselves eventually. If this one thinks that she can make us fly to the city, Taylor would very much like to see this.
However,
But
I need
Taylor-
the resources provided by the riders to do so.
Taylor likes neither group. You know this. His gut tells him, break the machine, head south. We go on our own. Do what this witch requested, what she wants. Then we go. Make our own way. Take this flying horse.
But I'm not sure I understood about any of what you just said. Did I? Is this is the flying horse? What was the machine?
The bike.
All right.
We have that now. We can take it and leave with our lives, not as slaves. Be free men, like Talum was days ago. Fuck them both. This is the way.
Perhaps Talum is the wisest of us all.
I don't think we should jump to that conclusion quite yet.
I kind of glance back over at Father T with a grin, like as if to say, you knew I was wanting to know what you were thinking, and you just told me.
You are all assuming that we know every aspect and every piece that is in play from these two groups, I will be the first to tell you all that we don't know the majority of the story, I promise, no matter what both sides have told us.
Talum knows
Playing-
enough. They are both shit.
I'm afraid that's how things work. Talum, the world is shit. It doesn't end here with the riders. It doesn't end with the raiders. Everything is bad all the time. Both sides argue constantly over nonsense, and none of it pertains to you about 90% of the time. So the best way to benefit from that is to sit on the sidelines and wait for what we need.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Now
like
you're
walk up close to
sense.
her. You think Talum does not know what the world is? You think Talum does not know that the world is shit? Talum knows. Talum knows well. Talum knows better than to be around these folk, these kind. But Tatiana makes delicious ale. And more than anything, more than being free, Talum wants to see the cities. If this can be done, then Talum is in. And I kind of like step back.
As you were like up in my face, I would like to have the air of like that I am very not scared of you. Like despite how impractical that would be and how like insulting you may interpret it, I want to be like, mm-hmm.
Roll a persuasion check.
For me, or
No, for Liliana.
To be.
Don't
not
think
afraid.
Logan has spoke for like 10 minutes.
I know.
I just realized that.
Talum wants to know what all of you want. He is the only one from down here. The rest of you are sky people. Why are you here? What is it you want? When the man knows what he wants, then perhaps he knows where to go. Or woman.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. How about we all share what exactly we're doing and we see if one side or the other is more beneficial. Well, don't all volunteer at once. Father T, what about you?
I pass the jug of ale to Father T.
It looks very out of place in his hands, and he looks down like he doesn't know what to do with it, and just sets it down on the ground. I myself am here searching for some peace and quiet. Time to think. Time to plan my next move. Peace and quiet that does not occur in the Raider camp. Who's next?
Is the floor open for rebuttals?
Not at this time.
I'm gonna go over to Father T and start a side conversation if we can.
Sure.
I'm gonna
awkwardly
say
pick the jug up.
I'm gonna kind of walk over and say, I noticed you grinned at the notion of self-enlightenment. I'm curious. What do you search for with enlightenment?
I myself have achieved my own enlightenment. I search for a way to bring it to others.
I'm like very curious. Tell me more.
I am unsure if now is the appropriate time to be discussing such things. They are not widely accepted and valuable truths. But rest assured, I will, if all goes well, share with you in time what I have discovered.
I look forward to it.
So we were all just like talking, like in a group, and then they two like kind of went off on their own. So I'm just gonna like patiently wait for them to return.
I'm just gonna stand next to him and then kind of turn back to the group. And if you guys are still talking, I'm gonna listen.
Both of you, Aiken, you're a quiet one. I'm gonna hand Aiken the jug. What is it this man wants? Every man wants something.
First off, I don't want the jug, so I'll start with that.
At this point, like Talon looks kind of wounded that like no one else is drinking with him. He's just going.
What does he do?
His ears kind of go back. He just kind of like nods. Like
I mean, is it obvious that he wants somebody to drink with him, or is he just kind of?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if you offer a drink, I'll take it. But if I'm able to glean what you're feeling, but if not, then I'm not going to do anything.
I'll say, sure, you spent some time together. You know that he's feeling out of place, at least.
I walk over. Oh, my friend, pour me a drink.
There is no pouring. You must drink from the jug. I like hand him the jug.
I like take it awkwardly. And I drink
you can pour. I just don't have any drinking utensils at the moment.
I have a mesh kit. I'll pull
Talon
out a mug.
looks a lot better now. Thank you, Gold. Aiken, you were saying? What is it you want?
To destroy the war machine that the riders are building. Or I suppose I would like to prevent the sacking of a city. If it doesn't mean destroying the war machine, it does not matter to me.
Talon can agree with this. Stopping the city from being destroyed is a good and noble thing. There are children up there, no? What's it called?
In the cities, even the youngsters are not children.
Care to elaborate?
What?
There is no need for him to.
What does this one mean?
You idolize these cities, but they are more corrupt than down here even. These problems, these debates we are having, are 10 times larger in the cities.
What is corrupt? He looks at Aiken.
What is corrupt?
What does this word mean?
I guess something that is evil in heart. Like feeding food to an animal just to kill it later, I suppose. I don't know how to explain this to you.
The people up there are no different than the people down here. And I get the sense you prefer not to associate with the people down here.
You're asking Talon this?
I'm not asking, I'm stating. But yes.
This is not true. Talon had friends, a clan here. No longer. There are some good down here, but not as many as up above. You make the city sound so terrible. How could it be? Look at them. Look at the trash that falls down. Trash that is greater than Talon has ever seen in his own life. How could these places be worse? You're mad. But besides, we are no closer to making the decision.
Yes. And that's because one person has not cast a vote in this debate. And I turn to Aiken.
What exactly are we choosing? To side with the Riders or to side with the Raiders?
We're choosing where our path leads next.
I think it would be pointless to involve ourselves in a power divide. This operation shouldn't take more than a month.
Then what do we do?
Go back to the Riders. Stop them in the core.
I may have something to add. If we're attempting to stop the riders, that does not necessarily mean fighting them at this time. It's a very risky path we're going to take. So that may, if we're ultimately going to stop them, like the Skynwitch told us to do to prevent the nationwide war, we're going to have to feign aid for them. They objectively have the number majority on us. They'd win in any sort of fight. I just started driving this bike yesterday. I'm sure they can out chase us as well.
But must it be violence that we stop them with?
No, in fact, I'm
Must
proposing
we
the
stop
opposite.
them at all?
Yeah.
Don't we just have to destroy their machine? We need to genocide them.
Well, I'm afraid destroying the machine, their current life's work, is not going to go over very well with their leaders.
I will also note that destroying the machine would probably be, dangerous for those around.
Small nuclear explosion, right?
I, and even our father over here, have dealt with this device, and we know that if not left into careful hands, it can destroy a vast, great thing, including ourselves if we're not careful. So we need to approach it like we're a part of them. If they get even the slightest suspicion, they'll pull me and presumably Father T's authority to interact with the device, and they'll merely launch it themselves. I've already provided them with a baseline schematic and a miniature version of the launcher towards the mainland. We're in too deep to just ditch them because we don't like their politics. It doesn't matter. We're above that now. The only way to stop them is with nuance, something you all will have to learn. Don't reveal too much. Don't reveal too little. Talk to them enough to comfort them. That's all we need to do until this whole thing blows over.
Father T looks visibly upset at this.
You say upset or obsessed?
Upset. Like, it's not like he's like gonna cry, but he looks what's a good word for it? Dismissive for sure. Like, it doesn't look like he believes in Ileana's vision.
What part of that did I miss?
I'm going to interject and say the last 2 or 3 minutes of conversation I've been vacant because I've been silently and not obviously praying to my goddess.
Father, if you have an amendment to my plan, I'm All ears.
My plan, she says.
I'm sorry, do I not have a plan? Do you have a plan? That won't result in the lives
Um,
of our entire group being lost.
you throw a lot of mine and eyes.
And I also throw around a
And
lot
you
of
think of us as a
we's.
group.
In fact, Goal yelled at me for saying we earlier.
You tend to
I did.
associate us with the bad things. However, when it comes to reward, good.
I did. And I've done a little soul searching while you all have bickered amongst yourselves. And I came down here for a purpose, and that was to achieve self-enlightenment amidst a great many questions. While I do not agree with the mystery, nor with the selfish ways that you seem to conduct yourself, Eliana, I have to admit, I'm intrigued by your thoughtfulness and your political prowess, that which I have none and never have wanted any. However, I am here to let the wind take me where it will. And my goddess deems it so. I'm going to follow along with your plan. We'll see where it goes. I will help you. It seems well thought out. And while I don't agree with many of the things that you've said, and I think several have pointed out that possibly you seem a little self-serving, again, your plan is well thought out, and you seem to be against slavery, which I very much am. So,
Not that I necessarily disagree, but I am ponderous. Where in my plans have I been necessarily self-serving?
I like hold up the ale. Very generous to me. I hand the ale back to Ileana.
Before
It's
engaging with the raiders, I opened the floor to all of you to come negotiate with me. None of you did. I've provided our entire means of travel by repairing this bike myself for us to use. And in fact, I've known nothing but open and discussive about our entire plans. I just fail to see. I think your thoughts of me, perhaps my first impression, gave you a bad idea. I'm not entirely sure I've been self-serving so far.
well, you are entitled to your opinion.
Well, in fact, I was attempting to clear the air. Could you please provide me with some examples?
Well, perhaps if I was to suggest an alternative plan, would you come along, or would you be interested in making your way up to the cities at all cost?
The plans, us surviving, is what's most important to me in general. If you propose to me a plan, I'll hold it up to the same scrutiny that I hold my own plan to. What's the
Galen wants to hear
percentage and
their plan.
likeliness we will survive? And what's the best way we can do so without bodily injury?
Mm-hmm. Well, I will tag along for now.
Well, as I said to Father T moments ago, if any of you have a better idea, I'm all ears.
Talem just kind of like turns around and faces like into the distance, like in the like kind of the wilderness where there's no people or camps or anything. turns back around.
Right. So what'll it be? You getting back on the bike, all of you?
Yes, I silently. I have not moved far from when I got up from the bike. I just silently sit back down on the edge of it.
I say, let me help you, Father T, and I just like, I don't guide him, but I just go with him.
Okay.
We'll follow Ileana.
All right. And then Ileana, you get back in the driver's seat, and where would you like to go?
That is a good question. At risk of being too self-focused, where are we headed to next?
Wherever the wind takes us, I think is what he said.
This is why he's my friend.
It is up to you, Ileana. We will follow for now.
And this is why I get to make the decisions. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go back to camp so we can all address to Amara that we're not going to ditch them and hopefully save a little face.
Okay. Turning back, you make the quick journey back to camp, and you see Chief Amara sort of sitting in the center of the encampment, sort of discussing with the other riders. Notably, I will say that Sniper is there as well in the small conversation. She looks up when you arrive. So, you're not leaving?
No, we're not abandoning ship. I've talked to all of them and calmed down our doubts at all. So I suppose we were just coming back here to ponder what exactly do we need to do at behest of these Dragon Tooth Raiders?
There is tunnel system that is made by the Skelbier tunnelers. They are a rival group in the area. They were once a member of the Dragon Tooth Raiders, but they look different, and so they disagreed on many values. I do not know, and since they have been fighting, trying to win us over to pick one side in the conflict. And I'm afraid our side has been chosen. We are now. Someone must enter these tunnels and either kill all of them, or there is the. And she kind of paused for a moment, like, why am I telling this woman all this? And then eventually says, there is another way that we may be able to convince them, but it is as good as slaughtering them.
Well, please, I'll always listen to the alternative to a mass murder.
There is in the tunnels this interwoven web of different places of residence, of storage, and in one of these chambers, they're holding what is allegedly a dragon egg. The Dragon Tooth Raiders, they call it the. And she looks over and one of the other riders steps up. They call it the God King. It was stolen when the tunnelers escaped, and ever since they have wanted it back more than anything.
And you want us to steal it back.
It is customary to work for your food.
Well, all I have to say is point me in the direction of these tunnelers.
That is a good answer to hear. It is good to have you back, Ileana. And then she'll pause for a long moment and then sort of like look across the rest of the group. And the rest of you, you are along for the ride?
Indeed. Point us in the right direction.
There are many entrances to the tunneler's domain, but the most inconspicuous one that I know of, it is at the top of Mount Kaloum. She points off in the distance. You can see sort of hazily this mountain that's sort of cut and craggy into the otherwise just hilly landscape here. It stands as sort of this like monolithic, landmark off in the distance, but it's something that Taylor you'd be like super used to. And honestly, most of you guys probably from being in this area are just like familiar with it being there.
Oh, joy. Mountain climbing.
The entrance is at the top of the mountain. It is why it is not guarded so closely. They say that in this mountain, the egg is held in the heart, the heat inside of the mountain.
Huh. Well, I suppose we should get moving. And before I go, I'm going to take off my bag of holding. I'm going to say, I'm going to need make some changes as we go, and I'm going to chuck it to her. I'm going to say, tell the chief engineer to empty out its contents by tonight. I'm afraid it will be a bit harder for the move if you plan on doing so, but I'll be back for it in a bit.
Of course, I will do so.
And unless anybody else has any other requests, I'm gonna get going.
I'm gonna walk up to the chief, kind of get in his face like I did Ileana a little while ago. Dalem and friends will do this for you, but you listen to me. We are not and will not be your slaves.
Your freedom has been arranged for already. You are not a slave any longer.
Good. Jalen wanted to be sure that you knew. Is Sniper nearby?
Yeah, she was like in on this conversation, so
I'm gonna walk
she's like glaring at you the whole time you're talking.
I'm gonna walk up to her as well, and I'm just gonna like make eye contact with her. Dalem is sorry for the loss of the one you cared for. Dalem defended himself, and his death was quick.
I hope that you know the feeling of losing someone that you love. I hope that you feel it and know what you have caused me. And if you do not feel it on your own, I will help you to feel it.
Just like nods and kind of like turns and walks away.
As you're walking back to the bike, I'm gonna go, holy shit, you killed someone?
I just kind of like look at Ileana briefly, and then walk past.
I'm gonna look at Ileana and say, "Yeah, look at him. How could he not?"
I suppose I should take his threats a little more seriously.
He doesn't threat idly.
I'm gonna keep the engine going, but I will wait for everyone to make their final rounds if they need be before we head out.
I sit on the tailgate, I guess.
Does anyone else want to speak with anyone in the encampment before you leave?
Yeah, I'll go talk to Higbane for a second.
Okay. You see him kind of wandering around. He looks like he's kind of bored.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try to sneak up on him again.
Yeah, roll a stealth check.
Naturally. Oh, that's bad. He'll see me. It is a total of 7.
Okay, I'll say this time, Higbane like turns around.
God. Got lucky.
Lucky. Maybe. I think I'm getting better.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Hey, if you don't want to be here any longer, you don't have to. We're gonna start getting deeper into this operation. So if you want to call it quits on your end, I'm cool with that.
What do you
Plus,
mean?
I don't know how much of Sniper you're gonna see. So.
What's that supposed to be?
Oh, nothing, dude. Just, she's a pretty busy woman. Got a lot on her plate.
Higbane's gonna like start grinning at you and says, I think I'll stick around for a little bit.
Hey, that guy, that guy that she was with. You know how he got, like he's dead now.
What do you mean?
He got killed.
How?
Well, I'm not gonna mention that, but yeah, that was her husband. She was already married. Yeah, you might be a little late to that party.
He like takes a moment, kind of like leans forward, and he said, "But you said he died, right?"
Sorry.
He kind of like pats you on the back and just winks and walks off.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yep.
I have Proteus with me, so we both go to the bike.
Okay. Everybody else good?
I'm just hanging with Taylor.
Just because we've already talked about this poor woman enough, I'm gonna look towards this sniper lady everybody's been talking to, and just before we take off, I'm gonna go, Miliana, I'm around here.
It's a pleasure to meet you. They call me Sniper.
I'm gonna peel out.
Amazing.
All right. In that case, I will need a D6 as you begin your travel. If you look on the map, it's actually on a small island. It's on a small island just north of you, like where you currently are. So you'll have to head back north through the land that was just stormed over, and then you'll have to actually cross the sea to arrive at this very small island with the solid
Shit.
mountainous crags sticking out of it.
Where are we at on the map?
So if you see the horsehead marker that symbolizes the riders, you're like southeast of that, and then you need to go north.
We were southeast, and we need to go north.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go. We're like, we need to go up this way.
Correct. That's the island. The one that you almost pointed to there. That's the island where it is. Yes.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Sick.
That's where the mountain is.
I mean, does anybody want to roll it? Because I could.
I'll roll it.
You
Good.
should.
Let me
I'm not good at
roll my new metal dice here. All right.
Question. Will we need 2 rolls, 1 for land, 1 for sea?
3.
Yeah, you'll need multiple rolls here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is like probably maybe 18-hour journey. You're guessing if you went straight there. 3. Okay. You see hobbling up ahead some sort of funky looking aircraft that seems to be like traversing through the air, but it's smoking quite a bit as if it might be damaged. It's not exactly heading in the direction you want to go, but you think that it might slowly be like crashing.
I'm watching in wonderment. Like,
Same.
Yeah, I'll say that those of you more technically inclined, you can see that the right of its 2 like basically energy source engines that it has are destroyed. It seems like it was damaged in some way, and smoke is coming from that.
I'm going to, without acknowledging the group, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. I'm going to veer off course completely, and I'm going to where I see the.
Okay. It's eventually thuds into the sand after about maybe half a mile of you chasing it off course. And you see as it hits a man climbing out of the cockpit, looking at the side of his rig here now destroyed. And he doesn't seem to notice you guys coming yet.
How big is this thing?
It's just, it looks like it's made for a single passenger, small, maybe 6-7 feet long and probably 4 or 5 feet high.
I'm going to drive up unless specifically stopped.
Okay. It looks like he's a halfling of some kind. Appears to be, well, I suppose you wouldn't know. Yeah, you drive up to him.
Okay, that I will.
Okay. He looks up towards you all, and I'll say that a couple of you may be familiar with by the clothes he's wearing. He's definitely from Jakim, and in particular, if you are from Jakim or at least have spent some time there, you would know this as a ring racer. Just by like the look of him, the way he's dressed.
I'm going to pull up next to him.
Okay.
Hi there. Need a ride?
Oh, boy, it's good to see you. It's been a lot of a day for me. Sure, ride's what I need, but could use a little tune-up. You know anything about? He kind of just holds up like the wing and side of its aircraft that are broken. This?
There's beer in the trailer, and I'm just going to hop off and walk past him over to the ship.
He just sort of nods and like walks over and like, all right.
Is there like both okay. Is there multiple broken aspects of this plane?
Looking at it, it looks to be one single like event. Like it looked like it had one collision, but in that collision there were multiple things that broke.
Okay, whatever Ileana doesn't work on, I'm gonna go right next to.
Okay.
I am gonna go mending for the outsides of the ship that is like cracked and like just need to be like put back together, and then for the intricate inside parts, I will pull out the either tinker's tools or smithing tools, anything that is necessary here, because I'm kind of good at this sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm going to say we should go ahead and put ourselves in initiative order here just to make this a little bit easier. So everyone roll initiative.
Eric, do barbarians get any sort of initiative thing?
Not yet.
Okay.
At later levels you can if you rage as soon as you enter combat. You get advantage on it.
18. Does the ale stay cold or does it like warm up over time?
I'd like to say it does, but ultimately it's not up to me.
Yeah, sure, why not? All right, I got
Wait,
Talum
that it
gold.
does stay cold?
Yes.
Awesome. Amazing.
I got Talum. Okay. I got 11 for Ileana. 14 for Father T. I'm now adopting our new nickname. What is that? Oh, no, 13, 8. That should be everyone. Okay, so Talum, your sort of first to this event. What would you like to do?
As I just kind of like casually, everyone else kind of, I imagine, race forward to repair this thing. If this halfling's making his way over, it'll break his concentration. He looks down and says, "Nice to meet you, little one. This is Talum." I like hand him the ale. "Do not worry, my friend. You are in good hands. You'll be up in the sky in no time."
Appreciate the offer. He takes the jug and takes like a big swig. Oh, it's quite a race today. So what are you lot doing?
A race? You are racing?
A racer, yeah. Ring racer. Lot of us halflings up there do it.
And you fly the ship fast. How fast does it go?
Oh. Pretty fast. He doesn't seem to be the most like technically minded guy. You ever been up Jakeem? See the races?
Talum is not saying Jakeem. No.
Oh man, well, it's the best damn sport in all the cities.
What is this one called? I like point to the little guy.
To him, the guy you're pointing.
Your name? I am Talum.
Okay. He looks like a little like confused and insulted, like you're asking if what a halfling is called.
No,
So,
yeah,
yeah, but the way you're he says,
yeah.
a halfling.
Very good. This one is Talum. It's good to meet you, halfling.
You got a problem with that?
Talum has no problem with this.
All right. That sounds good. As you guys have this like awkward I usually have this awkward conversation. It's actually
I'm gonna giggle at this halfling talking shit at Talum.
Nice. And then it is his turn, and he walks up to all of you and says, "So, not to, I don't know. Well, you brought it up first. How did you all get to meet each other? It's quite a interesting cast of characters you got wrapped up in here." And then after that, Father T, your turn.
Perhaps that's a better story for another time. Where's the rest of your team?
Oh, hopefully still up there racing.
And who's winning?
Well, it's gonna be hard for him to live without me, I think. Yeah.
Well, who started with the owl?
And that's and you see like he's very frustrated when you mention the owl. Damn. Oh my god, I didn't know you were a racer. And he like sits down and you just start talking about the intricacies of the game and how annoyed he is at the current state of it. And he's like, well, with the new rules, I mean, it's impossible to win. You can't win the game. Best you can do is tie. And he's bitching about it.
I just nod along. I wasn't. I never was a big ring racer guy, but you know, I can follow a conversation at least.
Yeah. Aiken, your turn.
I'm gonna be working on this plane a little bit just with Tinker's tools. I'm gonna overhear Father T's conversation and be like, I've never heard of this racing. And I'm gonna call back. Where did racing start at?
Well, actually, just go around the ring outside Jakeem. There's some of the land ain't suited for living, so it's a race.
We're talking like northern, eastern Jakeem.
All around it. Big circle track. That's why they call it a ring.
Never heard of this. I'm just gonna get back to work.
All right.
Working on this
Roll
plane.
Tinker's check.
D&D NASCAR.
Natural 20.
Oh, beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah, I'll say that with that, pretty much like moments after you lay your hands on it, you actually have the piece that is supposed to be generating the energy reconnected, and this crystal begins glowing, and something begins spinning inside of this portion that it makes up for the right engine. And as you work on that, Ileana, would you like to also roll me a tinkering check? This is your next step.
Yeah. Fuck. I forgot my character sheets at home, so I have pictures that were sent to me, so I gotta find them on the computer. Tinker. Oh, is this plus like a modifier or anything, or is it just like proficiency with my tools?
Proficiency back plus, tinkering tools. Yeah, just the proficiency.
Just proficiency. Okay, that is going to be
Yeah.
14 then.
Okay, 14. Yeah, I mean, by the time you like get around to like finding the problems and stuff and casting mending, which does help somewhat, Aiken has basically solved like most of the issues with this thing. You're impressed, and you didn't really know he had this sort of, capabilities. You're pretty taken aback.
Can I find the fuel source? Can I determine what that exactly is here?
Yes, there are blue crystals inside of the engines that seem to propel them.
Sick. If I were to dislodge one of these crystals, would the whole thing cease to work?
I mean, certainly that engine would cease to function. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's basically the issue he had when he came down here.
Anyways, I look around and I just kind of like look, and I look at Aiken and I go, if you're smart enough to do that, you're smart enough to know why we can't just destroy the bomb they have in the middle of the riders. So I'm on to
well,
you. You're hiding something.
This is more of a hobby for me. And I'm gonna stand up and walk away.
I'm sure.
Ileana, you're slightly insulted that his hobby is so impressive, considering it's your life's work. But he doesn't have a little robot anyway.
He's
got that one going for you.
So
I have a little dog. I have a big dog, actually.
Yeah, though I suppose, Ileana, you also don't really know the degree to which people are good at working on things. Maybe the average person is pretty good. You don't have a lot of background knowledge.
I do know that my tools are damn fancy, but that's all I got.
That is true. All right, so that brings up gold down at the bottom of the order.
I'm just looking around, enjoying what's going on.
All right.
I have no goals whatsoever.
All right. In that case, roll a perception check.
That's GOAL, not GOL. That would be a 7.
7. Okay. Yeah, you're just minding your own business. Taylor, back up to the top with you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna chill.
Okay. Roll a perception check.
14.
14. All right. It's just now that you're realizing that the crater that you landed in looks like it was like reinforced in some way. You're kind of surprised. You've never really seen anything like it. Like the impact of this didn't seem to damage the ground very much. And then you start looking around and you see 2 similar vehicles hovering about half a mile off in the distance.
Are these your friends? More racers. I like point up at the.
Suppose it must be. Funny you spotted that. I couldn't even see him up there.
Are they like high off the ground or like low to the ground coming at us?
High off the ground, like hovering.
Gotcha. Seems you will join your friends soon. I kind of like pat him on the back hard, like just accidentally, like probably overly hard.
When Taylum says this, do we all like take notice to the others
Yeah.
to coming? Okay.
His turn again. He'll stand up and sort of stretch a little bit and walk over. Seems to make quick work of it. Not too bad.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk to her about that?
Oh. Thanks to both of you. At which point, Father T.
Tell me, friend, before you go. I have not been to Joracast in quite some time. Tell me how the architects fare.
Jorcast.
Yes.
Oh, I've been saying Jakeem this whole time. Yeah, that makes sense. It's actually Jorcast. You're correct. He says, I suppose, good as you can expect. Don't follow that kind of stuff too much. Why do you ask?
Just a passion of mine to check in on the world above. As
Good.
long as nothing too big has happened, then I suppose I am up to date.
He like glances at you again. So it gives you a really long look.
As he's looking, I sort of pull my hood a little tighter over my face.
He seems like he didn't mean to insult you, and he like looks away. He's like, oh shit. Aiken, your turn.
I'd like to give Father T a look, as in, we know what's happening right now, and I'd like to string my bow, like to get it ready, and kind of take a step back from this, and I wouldn't like to draw it, but I'd like to prepare an attack on one of the two that are coming, specifically on their engines.
All right. You get your bow prepared.
Mhm.
Ileana.
I'm gonna send my steel defender to rip out one of the crystals within the ship's engine.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a dexterity check for it as it tries to like maneuver inside and grab and loose the crystal.
14 plus 1. 15.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that very tenderly it like holds like the spinning fan and removes the small gemstone.
And then I personally would like to see if I can continue to mess with this thing to have it run with one engine down, basically.
Oh, okay. I would say, yeah, go ahead and roll a tinkering check, this time using your intelligence modifier.
15. Intelligence is 3. No proficiency.
Oh, yeah, proficiency as well.
Proficiency and technology. And it's 13. It's 18, 20, dirty 20. Holy shit.
Oh my God.
God,
I was
was a
getting
rough
nervous
one.
there.
Do we need to take a 5 real
I'm
quick?
struggling. I don't know what's going on, man.
Okay, dirty 20. In that case, I'll say that you think it is possible that it could certainly function as an aircraft with only one, but you think that it would probably be much slower. So if this is for racing, you probably wouldn't be as good, but you think you could make it work.
I will. I'll jury rig this thing to work with what it's got, significantly slower.
So that basically involves you like cleaving one of the engines off and like repositioning this engine to be like a central tome and like, or a central I don't know the right word, central location inside of what is essentially now just a single engine jet.
So you know how the concept of like if you walk into a place with like a reflective vest on, they'll just kind of let you in because they think you're doing some work. I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna be like, like, oh man, I'm just gonna start readjusting things and just very I'm not gonna look around. I'm just gonna just start ripping apart this aircraft and adjusting it and hope I can get by on sheer confidence.
Okay, you start doing that. Ileana, that means goals up.
I'm not doing a whole lot. There's not much going on. I'm just watching.
Okay. I would say the aircraft definitely appear to like be slowly descending towards you at this point.
I'm just gonna kind of take a. I want to notice it. I don't know if I need to take a ready to action, but I'm just gonna be ready.
Okay. I mean, would you like to have a ready to action? Just in case.
Yes, I'll take a ready to action to dodge.
Okay, very nice.
To kind of move out of the way if it looks like with aircraft you can't tell where they're going. It's hard to tell until they get closer. So if I need to move when it gets closer, then I will.
All right. I will say that the aircraft continue descending towards you. You can see now that they're probably coming in for a landing. They're like circling you guys, slowly descending inward. Talon, back up to the top with you.
I'm gonna see that Aiken like got his bow out, and that seems pretty strange. Considering at least to Talon, suddenly he sees Aiken's uneasiness. And
is it okay if I add that Proteus is dead set on the halfling, like he's just not breaking eye contact?
Sure. Yeah.
Or invisible, I guess not eye contact, but
yeah. Whole to eye contact.
Yeah, Talon was just gonna like say. So do these ships look like pretty much identical to this guy's ship as well?
Yeah,
do
very,
they have
very
any
similar.
weapons or anything on them? They just seem like racing ships.
Roll an intelligence check. You do not know a lot about ships.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say actually, instead of doing that, can I just hold an action?
Sure.
Or is that? I mean, is that too meta for me to go back on?
No, I mean you like look up at these ships and instead of analyzing them,
yeah.
You're like,
okay. I'm just gonna say, after seeing Aiken, I'm gonna like put my heavy hand on the halfling's shoulder, kind of down, probably at my knee or something. Good to see your friends made it so quickly, and just kind of like leave my hand there. And if he like makes any sudden moves or runs or anything, I'm just gonna grapple his ass and just like pin him down.
He looks up to you. Well, always been a good crew. He like tries to like take your hand off his shoulder.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I just kind of like grip his shoulder a little bit, and just kind of like, like, do not worry, little one. Do not worry.
At which point you see he sort of like rubs his hands together, and you see just a bit of electricity building between his palms. And before you have any real time to react, he reaches out and is going to shocking grasp you.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
At which point can I do my held action?
Yes.
Once it reaches.
Yes. Yes. That is a 16 to hit you. I'm assuming that is going to land.
It's actually my armor class.
Oh.
Apparently. Yeah.
Well, in that case, I will say that you are able to evade it. At which point all of your held actions spring. I'll say, Aiken, you can go first.
Okay, I would like to let loose a bow or an arrow specifically aimed at one of the engines to try to take it out of the sky before they land.
Yep.
And Proteus is going to go for the halfling.
Okay, tackle him, bite him.
Bite him, just like grab one of his arms.
Okay.
Cool. I will do the bow first. Oh my god. Natural one.
Very nice. Combat starting off well as you see this, you freak out, and for a second you like look over your shoulder, sort of losing your concentration on where exactly you wanted to shoot. Sort of half losing your arrow and then like re-gripping it. I'll say it kind of tangs off the side and just sticks into Ileana's thigh.
Ooh, Jesus.
Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. Awesome. 9.
Yeah, that didn't feel good, Ileana. Yeah, so you get an arrow just directly into your thigh here.
So it's like, I don't know, I would amount it to, I've never been stabbed before, but I feel like if I were to be stabbed or shot with an arrow, it's kind of like a shocked moment. Like, it's not something I'm used to. So it's kind of like, and start to panic.
Yeah, that's about right. So as you begin panicking, Goal, your defensive stance takes over. So you're sort of dodging, ready for whatever may come your way. And at the same time, Talem, you're going for a grapple?
Yeah.
Should I do Proteus? Like, how do I
Grab a little
have his
yeah.
stats?
I'll say actually, Talem, just go with advantage on your attempted grapple since you have the dog. Yeah, I don't think he'll be much for combat, more like helping things out and like giving people advantage and stuff.
Do I add strength? Is that what you do for grapple?
Athletics.
Oh, okay.
Which is strength based.
24.
Whew, very nice. With that, you easily kind of like pin his arms back. The little halfling like, kicking and screaming, trying to get out of your grip. But you've got him pretty soundly now, you think.
I guess I can't make him prone, can I? That'd be like a whole set.
That's another action. So that was his turn. Bringing up Father T.
Let's see. Ileana's been shot. That is my understanding.
Yes, by your friend.
I start to mutter under my breath as I stand up and I go over. I maybe accidentally like whack the guy with my stick, not enough to do any damage on the way, but just enough to show my annoyance with him as I pass. I'll go over to her and slam my staff on the ground, and it sort of peels open and it starts to spin as this black void hangs unattached to the center. And as I put it over her arrow wound, I will go ahead and cast Cure Wounds on her. And as I do, the arrow is pulled backwards at the exact trajectory it came as the flesh just sort of reverts and reseals itself exactly as it was prior to the arrow piercing it.
Father T, what the
I'll
fuck?
stamp my staff again and it'll close.
How much healing?
Oh, that's right. I have to roll in this game. Cure Wounds, that's 1d6 plus
1d8.
D8.
Plus your spellcasting modifier.
1d8.
Don't sell yourself short.
10 hit points.
Sick. I only took 9 damage.
Very nice. So the wound is fully healed.
Father T's good.
Oh,
Yep. So that's Father T's turn. So Aiken, that brings you up. Having just shot your friend.
Yeah. Ew. Anyways, I'm gonna aim again for the same target.
Okay.
Do I realistically believe I can knock one of the engines out with a single arrow?
With a well-placed arrow, you think, yeah, probably.
Okay. Actually, can I do a know thy enemy on the ships themselves to see if I could figure out like where's the best spot to shoot?
Sure.
Cool. I think it's just an insight if I'm reading this correctly. I have to beat its CR
Challenge rating. Yeah.
+8.
Okay.
Cool. Come on, baby. Okay, that's a little better. Insight. That is 16.
Okay, so I'll say that just by staring up toward it, you do see the engines as good targets, though underneath the I suppose the hull of the airship, whatever you want to call it, you see a very small like exhaust pipe that kind of is like crooked down and like bends back out of the way, and you think that may be the best place to target it for maximum damage.
Okay. So yeah, I that would be vulnerability, I think, and I think I just get advantage on attacks rolls for that. Cool.
Correct.
And then it's odd. It says I can only do that for a certain amount of rounds. I don't know. I'll worry about that in a minute.
Okay.
And I'll have the dog just, keep helping out with this little halfling. Okay. Okay. I got a 21.
Okay, 21 definitely hits, and you see it actually pierces this tailpipe, and immediately this liquid begins spraying all around it. Go ahead and roll damage.
8.
All right, 8 points of damage. With that, you see this liquid begins spreading around and like splashing onto the engines around it. And you see the whirling catch this liquid, and it ignites like flash paper. The entire thing goes up in flames. You see this fireball just fly overhead. Assumingly that man has died.
Oh my god. Kind of like look over at Aiken. Did you meet? Damn.
At which point, Ileana, that brings you up.
So I got some just straight up bullshit I want to try, and I'm gonna hope that you vibe with me on this one, okay?
Okay.
I would like to use the spell Catapult, which I have as first level spell. Any object weighing 1 to 5 pounds within range that isn't being worn or carried, I can launch 90 feet in a specific direction.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to use like the arrow or something, or literally anything else is rubble on the ground, could I have my Steel Defender sail with it as well?
How much does it weigh? Does it say?
Steel Defender. I was looking for it. It doesn't say particularly.
Then I would say sure, as long as the collective weight between the two of them is more than the spell allows.
I'm not gonna lie, it probably is. Like probably.
Heavier than a jug of milk.
Heavier than Red Box.
I mean, I don't want to be, cheating here, but I guess I could. I mean, I would like to do this thing. So, anyways,
how small is your thing? I mean, is it like
R2D2 or
no? He's medium, but I think that's just sort of like width he takes up, and not necessarily like mass.
Yeah, but he's made of metal. How wide and tall do you think he is?
He's a small, like he's sort of like capsule-esque as we've shown, and he's like hollow a lot as he like has different, sort of panels that extend outwards and stuff.
But how wide and tall is he?
Didn't you say he sits on your shoulder?
Yeah, he's like smaller.
So he can sit on your shoulder. I mean,
maybe like 10 pounds of weight, like
shoulder. I would think he weighed less than 5 pounds.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay. You can do it.
Okay.
I mean, because otherwise that would be a heavy burden to be like, oh yeah, like
I always imagined it relatively, small and spidery, but so I'm going to yell at him. I'll be like, hop on the arrow, and he's gonna.
And I'm gonna say, do not touch that arrow as I'm grabbing another one.
It was in my leg, and I'm just gonna.
But it is mine.
And I'm going to mix up some concoctions of various chemicals. I'm gonna dump it onto the arrow. I'm gonna like pick it up, and I'm gonna be like, this should cause it to create a relatively dangerous level of kinetic energy stored in this one object that should ignite right about. And he like grabs on. I go now, and he. I want it to like launch like a miniature rocket shooting at this thing here. So I guess the aircraft itself has to make a dexterity saving throw.
Natural 20.
Ooh.
So it passes, obviously. But it still flies 90 feet in its direction.
Okay, so your little buddy is just like holding on as it slowly arcs over and begins descending.
And then I given my instructions as a bonus action on my turn, and I hope, and then so he goes right immediately after me. So I guess the chain of events really went. I instructed him. I moved forward a bit. I readied my spell. He hopped on. I casted it, and now he's sailing. And I'm going to try to have him land on the aircraft itself.
Okay. He doesn't have a lot of ways to like propel himself in the air,
Right.
but I'll say you can go ahead and roll athletics check for him.
Oh, you're a strong boy. Not really. Athletics. Oh, I get 12. 12.
Okay, 12. Had it not dodged so well, it would be, potentially possible. But this aircraft, I mean, with the natural maneuvering that's probably required to be one of these ring racers, it was like easily able to avoid this this spell coming at it.
I just watched the arrow sail, and as he begins to fall, so does the steel defender. I'm like, ooh, and he just poof, hits the plane wing. It starts to fall, and I'm like, poor dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, he is arcing downward. We'll deal with that next turn, I suppose. And that was Ileana's turn. So, Goal, you're up.
I don't know. I feel like everything's under control. So Taylum has this halfling grappled.
Yes.
This aircraft has been taken down and is on fire.
Well, there's also another aircraft coming at you.
There's another aircraft.
There were 2 total aircrafts. Yeah.
Does it look similar to the other one?
Very, yeah, it's exactly the same.
Okay. I'm going to make a distance attack.
Okay, what kind of attack?
I think I'm going to throw I think I'm gonna do this elaborate, almost like a capoeira type of thing, where I'm gonna like kind of spin my legs around and throw the star at the same time at the airborne aircraft.
Okay, very nice. Did you take note of the location that Aiken shot the first one?
What do you mean?
So Aiken shot like a particular location on the other aircraft that he blew up. Do you try to replicate that, or do you just throw it at the aircraft in general?
Yeah, I'll try to replicate that. If you think that is realistic that I noticed that.
I think so. I mean, this is 2 aircraft like descending on you. I'd imagine you have been watching the events.
Yeah,
but I will say a targeted shot will cost you disadvantage on your attack.
A targeted shot will cause disadvantage.
Yes.
Okay.
But for potentially greater gains of hitting the weak spot.
Yeah. So let me get another dice here. Shit. I rolled a natural 20 and a 4.
That's tough. What's the total?
So that's a 9 total to hit.
Okay, 9 total. Unfortunately, you see it just kind of clank off the side of this aircraft. Doesn't seem to have any effect.
Okay.
Anything as a bonus action?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to look back to Taylum to see if he's got everything under control.
Okay. By the looks of things, so far, so good. He definitely has this guy grappled, nothing else. And then the remaining aircraft's turn, and it is going to continue descending and is going to close the distance with you all. And in the process, is going to lower a net and attempt to capture Talum. Talum, I need you to roll a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Will I lose my grapple on this dude if I like roll out of the way or something?
Can the dog give advantage?
I'll say
Okay.
No.
His ass up. Can I like roll with him like in my arms?
I'll say that the dog cannot give advantage, but does allow you to maintain the grapple even if you dodge out of the way.
Okay.
Due to it also grappling.
What is this? A dex save?
Dex saving throw, yes.
13.
Okay, 13. You sort of like dive halfway out of the way. The net doesn't capture you, but you feel like it hit you and little spines stick into your back as it then it's pulled back up as the pass is finished and the aircraft like moves through and seems to ready for a second pass. But the initial thing that comes through there does inject you with a toxin. I need you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Are we like prone on the ground then?
Yeah, I'm assuming you like dove out of the way.
Okay, yeah. 23.
Okay, 23. You don't have any immediate effects, but you definitely feel like something, sickened you briefly. As you dive to the side, you all hear this thing just rush right through the center of your party, luckily not colliding with any of you directly, at which point, Talum, it is your turn once again, still with this small halfling in your grasp.
Can I like, I guess I think I'm just going to pin him down in the dirt and like on his back and kind of like put my knee on his hands and stuff and say, what is this little one doing here? Why do Wraithers have nets like this?
I didn't exactly tell you a whole story, but I'm not really a racer anymore. I'm into big game hunting, and your coat didn't look like too bad of a prize.
Do I have an action left, or is that kind of me pinning him?
I would say you pinning him is an action.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Talum just kind of like shakes his head and like, you have thrown your life away. And I'm gonna like start taking the axe off my back.
Fair enough. Father T.
I'm gonna walk over with my staff and I'm just gonna clock the guy on the ground with it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll the attack.
Do I happen to have advantage because he's pinned down, or is that
he's
reverse?
prone. No, he's prone. So since you're using a melee attack, he would have advantage.
Awesome. -1, 11 to hit.
11 does just hit.
Yes. And I'm going to use 2 hands because I have no use for my other hand. So that is going to be 3 - 1 points of damage. So 2 points of damage.
Okay, yeah, you just like smack him with your staff here. You see, like, I'll say anyone watching, you see like his staff like reacts to this. You see like the top of it like cover this protective core or whatever it is that seems to be a channel of his magical energies, and it like coils up as it hits and then like uncoils again afterwards. That was Father T. So we got Aiken coming
I would say after you smack him in the head with your staff, Proteus just like bites his head, like just his face on the ground.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that attack.
Cool. Should I add anything or just straight like dice?
Yeah, I would say you can add +3 for his attacks.
Okay. Oh my. All right. Natural 1. These dice are going back.
Oh man.
Okay,
They're going back to the store.
Hey, I need to return these defunct dice. They
roll
don't work.
way too often.
You see the dog just sort of like growling and like biting, and then you see Talum kind of reach back and he just bites onto Talum's arm. In a moment of confusion, Talum, you suffer 1 point of damage as you were bit by the dog.
I say, Proteus.
Proteus like looks over his shoulder like ashamed.
Of which I will use, so I get 2 rounds for any like know thy enemy stuff. So this is the last round. I'm just gonna shoot at the other ships. I assume those ships are identical in nature.
Yeah, there's only one other ship remaining, but yes, it is identical.
Yeah, so I would like to shoot at that same spot that I did last time, like the fuel line.
Yep.
Now, here's the question. Do I get advantage? However, is it 2 dice rolls or 1?
I think you get advantage, so you get advantage.
Okay. Good to know. Wow, it went from 4 to 6.
Okay.
So, the number will be 14 to hit.
Okay, 14 does not quite hit. Unfortunately, this your arrow not quite as beautiful as the first one that hit very nicely, but nonetheless, you are able to get an arrow in its direction, if nothing else, and that is a concern bringing up Ileana. I think you're muted.
I'm gonna look as my poor little steel defender is falling from the sky. I'm assuming he takes some damage as he hits the ground.
Yeah, let's see. I'm thinking.
I think I launched him 90 feet in the air, or like maybe at an angle, so not quite as high, but kind of far.
Yeah, I did 5d6, but I rolled very poorly. I got 17 points of damage.
My man's still kicking.
A couple springs sticking out of him.
I rolled 3 1s. Pretty impressive.
He's gonna make some sad whirring noises as he's very, very far from everyone else. However, he's got a pretty nifty, quick movement speed, so he's gonna run 40 feet back to where we're at.
Yeah, so I'll say 40 feet. I mean, he's like back to where you are already. Shows up.
And so sorry, this is my turn. I'm gonna as my bonus action, I'm gonna go kick him while he's down, referring to the halfling that's being held. And then I'm gonna hop into this. I want to see if I can make this fly with what I got. I'm gonna hop into the ship, see if I can turn on the ignition here.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
If this is like sort of a magic mixed with technology, if I could throw in some arcana,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll an arcana check and a dexterity check.
Arcana is going to be a 15. Dexterity is going to also be a 15.
Okay. I'll say that with some experience that you now have with the riders, bikes, and whatnot, being able to lift this ship off isn't the hardest thing, but it's also not easy for you. It's definitely, you're not as smooth as the guy who's flying around and whipping through and doing passes, but you were able to just like get yourself floating through the air. You kind of like jerkingly moving back and forth, trying to get yourself centered, especially with only a single engine. But I will say that you also now have one additional rank in using vehicles. So anytime you're using a vehicle or doing a vehicle-based check, you'll have a plus additional 1. And keep track of that, and you might get more in the future.
That would be what my action. That would be probably my action is starting that thing up.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're really having to think. I mean, it's not like, yeah, the thing you just do for sure.
So I'm going to use, my movement, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to try to just fly it at the other one, kind of. That's all I got this turn. That's all I'm wanting to do. And then I'm going to have my steel defender try to punch the other dude while he's down here at the halfling.
Okay.
He got an 18 straight roll.
Nice. That'll
plus, hit. Okay. So that he's got a force empowered rend is what it's called. Ooh, at maximum damage with a saucy 10 force damage as he picks up this humanoid looking hand, curls it into a fist, and a rocket shoots out the other side as he clocks this dude in the head.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, he punched him in the face pretty damn hard. Definitely some significant damage. As it's able to land its blow, that brings up goal.
You're muted, Dan. Dan, you're muted.
Or when I muted it. I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm going to do these elaborate moves, and they're kind of a heave ho to get more momentum instead of just like standing and throwing a star. Yeah, exactly. I'm like doing this almost like a flip and like jumping off to the side and like spinning my legs in a circle, and it's getting momentum, and I'm going to toss it. And I'm going to do the same thing, kind of shooting for the same area that the last one went with. Like towards the engine area. And
Okay,
still at disadvantage.
If you just want to shoot for the engines, it won't be. It's just when you're targeting a very specific location.
Well, I'm targeting the location that the other one was taken down by.
Okay, in that case, it would be with disadvantage again. Yes.
Okay. That'd be 11 to hit.
11 also, unfortunately, not enough to make contact with this very particular location on the vehicle.
Okay.
Anything as a bonus action?
No, I was going to use part of my bonus action was going to be for my Kinsei shot, which really affects damage more than the ability to hit.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that is goal. So that brings up our aircraft once again as it swoops back through, once again deploying this net with the express written consent, or the express written, I don't know, intent, there you go, to try to capture Talum. Talum, go ahead and roll the dexterity saving throw once again.
Oof. I rolled the same exact thing, the 23.
Oh, very nice. Once again, you're able to pretty easily evade this. Once again, you are brushed up by the spines, but if you want to go ahead and roll me another Constitution saving throw.
18. No, 20. Dirty 20.
Okay, yeah. Talum is like not worried about the situation. Getting stabbed in the back with these spines, dodging away. He's not having any trouble thus far. I will say that you do have to release the halfling this time, just because the dog is no longer assisting in your
Gotcha.
keeping him down. At which point the halfling sort of like skirts back, stands up, and sort of like looking from one of you to another, looks up towards Ilyana and says, I don't think that's a very good idea for her. Well, I can destroy it. I've got the button right here. Like holds up a little mechanism. Want me to kill her? Let's do it. Back away. Go on then.
Who's he like specifically talking to right now? Is he like darting back and forth?
Yeah, just
anyone.
People attempting to kill him and hit him with things. And it is now Father T's turn.
How injured does he look? Does he look like
Very.
pretty unhealthy? All right, then I'm gonna pull my staff close, and as it's whirring and swirling up at top, I'm just gonna whisper into the void. It seems to almost grow and retract as I'm speaking into it, reacting to the words I'm saying. And as I'm speaking, it turns, the center of it turns this sort of silvery color, and that silvery color sort of grows and grows, and it looks like it's getting, like it's traveling from far away but getting closer. And I'm going to cast Magic Missile as a couple missiles spring forth from the top of my staff here.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage.
Yeah. So I create 3 glowing darts. I'm gonna send 2 towards the guy with the thing on the ground and 1 towards the guy in the aircraft. As long as I just have to see him within 120 feet.
Yep, you see like one just takes off into the air following the aircraft here.
All right. So the 2 that hit the guy on the ground do 6 points of damage combined.
Okay, you see as he's holding up this thing, he just collapses backwards, looks to be unconscious or dead.
3 points for the one up in the air. And I'll say as they pass anyone, if they're going past them, they seem like really cold, but not like temperature wise. It's this gnawing feeling as they pass that they're out of place. Like they've been chilled over 1,000 years.
Very nice. All right. So you guys see as these magical bolts take down this halfling near up against here. Aiken, your turn.
As previously mentioned, is the driver of the ship visible?
You can't see him while he's operating it, no. Like you know where he is just based on where the cockpit is, but you cannot see him directly.
Okay. In which case, I think I'm just gonna shoot for the engine. I don't know if I want to go for that fuel line again and take disadvantage. But I think I will just shoot for the engine, try to poke a hole in it.
Okay, easy enough.
Bless you.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's a little better than before. 23.
Yes, 23. Your arrow punches a hole directly through the engine. Go ahead and roll damage.
Cool. Just total of 6.
Okay, 6. You see the aircraft like jostle a bit between that and a magic missile that collided with it just before. It definitely looks to have taken some damage, but not enough to take it from the sky or anything just yet. Anything as a bonus action, Aiken?
I'm inclined to believe I don't have anything. I think Proteus is just going to come back to me and sit at my side, just waiting for my next command.
He will. Which brings up Ileana.
I'm wondering if this motherfucker's got any attacks on it as I'm going to fly it and sort of roughly start kind of pressing buttons in an educated guess style.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that you're able to familiarize yourself with the same netting that is available from the other one. It seems like you can also deploy a net from the one that you're driving.
That doesn't seem like a good idea to do that to the other ship. So I will sort of just continue flying and trying to find out if there's any sort of offensive measures. And then I will have my Steel Defender. I'm going to issue him to continue attacking the halfling, considering I don't know what's going on because I'm up in the sky.
Okay. He just walks up and just like starts pounding the dead body of the halfling.
Yeah,
easy enough to do. And I'll say that with how familiar you now are with this piece of machinery, you know that there are no other weapons attached to it. It seems like it was definitely designed for racing and probably like retrofitted to have this net, but that's about it.
Interesting.
And that is Ileana. So Goal, your turn.
I'm gonna pull out my gem sword, and I'm going to take a ready to action. If it was to dive down again, I'm going to use my sword to attempt to slice the net.
Okay. Would you like to describe your sword to the party?
Sure.
Yes. So I don't have a picture ready for it, but let me see if I can find one real quick. It's called a gem sword. You guys have probably seen it in movies. It is a slender double-sided sword that comes to a, looks like almost a blunted tip, almost a rounded tip, but it's still sharp at the tip. Very decorative, one-handed grip with a pommel that is very elaborate.
I'll say that it gives all of you the impression of a sword that is, it's not something that you could just pick up and wield effectively. It seems like it would require lots of training to be good with this sort of weapon. And Goal handles it as if he has experienced that training well and thoroughly.
Have I seen you use this weapon before, Goal, in our like month together?
Maybe once or twice, but I use it sparingly.
Cool.
All right, Goal, and it's yes.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
All right, and Goal, as the ship again repeats its dive towards you all, you do see it considerably more damage now. Go ahead and roll for your attack against the net that it deploys.
Okay. And that would be a 24.
Wow, yeah, no problem. You just you do like a little bit of like an incline jump and just slice up through like where the net connects to the ship and just sever it from the ship.
So as I do that, I'm like, yeah, and I just slice it.
Easy enough to do. The ship continues its pass, and then you start to see it like veering up in a way, like almost like it's like, okay, fuck this, I'm out of here. At which point it is Talum's turn.
Okay. I'm gonna see the ship kind of go over, just turn and drop my axe, and I'm gonna reach like into my leathers and pull out a javelin and just kind of like take my time lining up the shot and just hurl it at the ship.
Okay.
I don't know if, does it look like fairly damaged? You know what? I'm just gonna like hurl it at the ship, and whatever it hits, it hits. I'm not gonna try to target it.
It looks fairly damaged. Go ahead and roll for that
Okay,
attack.
I'm just gonna hurl it. 16.
Okay, 16. You launch this javelin after like a brief running start, and you see it arc upward, and the ship kind of move forward and just pierces the ship. Go ahead and roll damage.
Nice. Cool.
If I may, as soon as I see it make connection with the ship, I'm going to start running in the direction that the ship is kind of flying in anticipation for where it maybe will drop.
I think I did 5 damage. Is it
5 damage?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. You see the javelin like pierce into it and stays stuck inside of the vehicle. You see it like sort of veering a little bit and sort of chaotically moving, jolting around, but it still seems to be flying and still ascending at very least. That's Talum, so Father T.
I forgot I go next. Sorry. Is the ship within 60 feet of me?
Yes, it had to use half its movement to get to you, so I would say that it is about 35 feet away.
Oh. In that case, I am gonna go ahead and I just yell, Dragon's Breath! And as I stamp it again, fire extends from the staff, the top of the staff, in like this huge cone. And I will cast Sacred Flame on this.
Is that a deck save?
Oh yeah, it does a dex throw. Sorry, I can't think.
No worries. It is extremely dexterous, but that is still very bad. I got a 3 + 7, 10.
That will not succeed. I only do 1 point of damage though.
And 1 point of damage was all you needed. How would you like to do this? As it is struggling after that javelin poked through the hole.
I think when I just say dragon's breath out of nowhere, I stamp it, and there's sort of a roar that echoes from the staff as this flame comes from it, and it just barely reaches the ship from the distance I'm at. And I'm gonna say this fire is just so hot that even just barely touching it, the wings just start to melt, and it crumbles to the ground.
All right, it does, colliding with the ground of flame. At this point, you are all out of combat.
I'm gonna pull up in my sick ass ride, and I'm gonna slowly make my way towards the ground here.
Okay, roll another dexterity check plus your used vehicles and your intelligence.
Ooh, baby! Dexterity +1, vehicles +1, +3 for my my intelligence. That's a 23 total.
Okay, in that case, I will say that you can now drive the vehicle and land it without assistance. Like you seem
baby,
competent at using the vehicle.
Crack open the cockpit. I think I found my way to the cities up above.
I'm gonna kneel next to the halfling and make sure he's dead. Like feel for a pulse or his breath or something.
You see
I'm gonna-
the steel
I'm gonna
defender
walk up as
just
well.
pounding him in the face over and over again. So you think that if he wasn't dead before, he most certainly is now that his face has been flattened.
Oh,
Nice.
down.
He just like retracts.
So his face is completely crushed.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Where's the other ship? Like the first one that crashed? Where's that crashed at?
It's sort of like burned up in the sky, so you weren't exactly sure, but you could try and head that direction if you want to.
Yeah, if it's not too far, I'd like to find where it went.
Okay, go ahead and roll a. I'll say an investigation check. I was kind of debating there between survival, but I think investigation makes more sense in this case.
4.
4. Okay, so you find like remnants of the ship, but nothing worth writing home about. It looks like the vast majority of the hull and whoever was driving it burnt up before they landed.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Goal, you do arrive at the other crash site. You see that it's still ablaze.
Am I able to get to the pilot?
Rushing toward the cockpit, you reach and open it, and you see that a javelin is piercing his heart. He appears to have died even before the ship went down.
If I'm able to, is it what type of creature is it?
He's also a halfling.
I'm gonna grab him by his wrist and kink his wrist back 90 degrees and pull his body by his wrist and see if I can yank him out of the wreckage.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you're able to pry him from it. He's not like on fire himself, but he definitely looks to be dead.
Okay, I'm just gonna drag him from the wreckage and search him.
Okay. Looking through his affairs, go ahead and roll me an investigation check again.
19.
I would.
Aiken, did you have a question?
Yeah, I would like to meet up with Gull.
Okay. Start heading that direction. Goal, you rolled an 18, 19? What was it?
19.
19. Okay, so you find on him 190 gold pieces. A cloak that appears to be made of tabaxi, particularly a black tabaxi by the looks of things. As well as what appears to be a small card marking him as one of the racers. It seems like maybe give him access to particular areas. So it's a ring racer card. And then throughout his affairs, you find one other thing that appears to be some sort of mechanism. Do you try and activate it? Looks like a small rod-like object with different tendrils heading off the top of it?
Not right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it to investigate later.
All right, you do.
To not be hasty. So I'll collect everything that he's got. Is Aiken present?
Yeah, he can like runs up to you.
Find everything all right?
He's already dead.
Well, yeah.
It would appear that javelin hit its mark.
I look in the cockpit. Nice. I pull out my I'm gonna pull out my war pick and I'm gonna go to the sharp side and then stab him in the throat. Confirm the kill.
Okay, you stab him in the throat. You see like there's this like little like squirt of blood, but no sustained flow from the stab, seeming he's been dead for a few seconds here at least.
Yeah.
All right.
As I said, I believe the javelin made its mark.
Sorry. That's offensive. It's just how I was trained. That's good.
I understand.
Collecting
I'm gonna view his body and just all have collected all the things that he had.
All right. After collecting his things, Aiken, is there anything else you wanted to do with the wreckage?
Let it
Okay.
burn.
It does. And about this point, Taylum, you start to worry due to all the flames that there will probably be people coming here to scout the area soon. So you're like looking around and like noticing the smoke just now, like coming to the realization of like, oh crap, we should probably get out of here.
Not only that, but something made his ship smoke in the first place and crash. So they may have been like fighting something. I'm gonna try to roll that net up that he like tried to like use my knife and my axe to just kind of like fold it up if I can and maybe wrap it in a leather or something.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely able to.
Is it like huge? It's not like too big to handle, is it?
It's too big for you to like throw.
Yeah, okay.
But it's not too big for you to handle directly. It looks like it's made for probably capturing animals around your size, maybe a little bigger. And it does have these poison spines on the end, but you don't know what the effects might be.
This one thinks we should leave. I kind of shout to the rest. Smoke draws scavengers.
I can confirm this. I was briefly a scavenger.
Unless you want to be a slave again, Goal. Shout out to him.
Indeed not. We should leave.
I'm going to flying this thing around would be very obvious if they're coming to look for us. I'm going to use me and my steel defender's last moments, and I'm going to, first of all, how quick are you guys wanting to get the fuck out of here? Like immediately?
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
All right, hang on a second. I gotta see how long this will take.
Yeah, 5 minutes max. I don't know.
5 minutes.
I think
max.
Taylum, having learned his lesson way too many times, Taylum's gonna like find a place to hide, like just a crater to duck in. Just kind of, he's not gonna be panicky, but he's just gonna kind of find a place to just kind of like lay low and like wrap some furs over him and just like keep an eye out for basically keep watch if another ship does, come out or something.
I am going to spend 1 minute, only one, to use my last spell slot to cast Identify to fully 100% comprehend every intricacy of the ship through magical means.
Okay. Yeah, you sort of settle in and sort of understand where the ship came from. And its building is segmented in your understanding because you gather the arcane elements and how they were harvested and how they were put together. You see back in the mines where these crystals were being captured and slowly pieced apart. You see a land long ago, long forgotten, built with all of these huge burgeoning blue and purple crystals, with these ones being chipped from its core and carved for their purpose. You see the furthering of their enchantments, the direction of their motorization that they've been utilized in. But the majority of the whole and everything escapes your understanding. It just comes into being in your investigation, though you do understand its purpose. You get a brief inkling into the aerodynamics of the vehicle and how the propulsion of the air works using these magical crystals. And with that, you understand briefly how it's been used in these various races, these ring races around the city of Joracost. You can imagine these things whipping around and almost colliding with one another. In fact, you believe that's where this one was in, or this ship was actually damaged, was in one of these races where it collided with another. You understand it more fully, but there are still parts of it that elude you.
I am going to, with the remaining 4 minutes I was given, tear specifically the engine and also the rest of the parts of this ship as much as I can. However, I do not have my bag of holding on me as I left it. So I'm going to throw everything I can't carry in the trailer with you guys. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the trailer's decently big, but eventually you'll run out of space if you continue collecting junk from around the place. But
I figured.
You do a good job.
I'm like, God damn, I should not have given up that bag of holding, because I was gonna get another infusion instead, but now I'm like, fuck, should have brought it. Anyways, and then at the very end, I'm counting mentally. I think I can multitask. End of the 4 minutes, I'm hopped on, ignition started, and goggles on. I'm ready to go.
All right. Does anyone else do anything for these 5 minutes that he's sort of inspecting the ship and then dismantling it?
Is the guy the closest guy to me? Is he wearing furs? Is he wearing tabaxi furs also, or is the other guy just have tabaxi? Because I don't think
the halfling on the ground was not wearing tabaxi furs.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring the cloak. He said it's a cloak by a black tabaxi. I'm gonna bring it over to Talum and ask him to tell me about it.
Would I be able to identify it as tabaxi, you think?
You can.
Yeah.
Oh, just by smell, you can,
Yeah,
for sure.
okay.
I mean, it's definitely tabaxi.
Talum's ears kind of like go back as soon as he like has it in his hands. Does it smell like anyone I would have known? Like any?
Roll a perception check.
Okay. Nat 1.
It's probably been on this halfling for a while, so it smells a lot like halfling, which apparently you don't like the smell of, as you're kind of like smelling and just have to like rear back almost. You're only 50% sure it's tabaxi now after smelling it more closely.
Is there any properties to this, or is this something that you want, my friend?
That's a good question. Talum does not know. There are not many of us left. I'm gonna like put it in my bag a little bit, like just roll it up and put it in my bag, I guess.
Okay. Easy enough to do.
Yeah, I just kind of sit on the edge of the truck, just like in thought. I think. I called it a truck, like it's actually the bed, like the bed of a truck. That's what I picture.
So 5 minutes is a long time. I'm going to investigate that device that you said. You asked me if I was going to activate. If he's just going to be jacking around, then I'm going to investigate on it and try to activate it.
Okay. It seems to harbor electric charge within it. And when activated, you activate it by like holding it and like extending it basically. It electrifies. These like tendrils at the end all conduct electricity.
Wow.
It appears to be a stun gun of some kind.
Which I would have no idea.
Yeah, probably not. You may be familiar with like with the existence of such things, but you wouldn't be intimately familiar with how they work or anything.
Okay. So I like activate it and it does its thing, and I kind of look around at everybody almost like in amaze and wonderment and questioning, looking for anybody to offer insight without asking verbally.
In the midst of my stuff, I'll identify it later, very offhandedly.
I'm aggressively looking for the arrows that I fired.
Okay. I'll say you're able to find one of the arrows you fired.
Excellent.
Think I could recover that javelin from the guy? He didn't burn up, right?
That's right. He was pulled from the cockpit, so he's just laying there with the javelin in him.
Yeah, I think he'll like spur of the moment be like, oh, I'm like kind of like, oh, I forgot that, and I'm just gonna like put my foot on his body and just like pull it up out of him.
Yeah, it gets like kind of caught on a rib on the way out. You really have to like tear it, but yeah, you know get it out of there.
Okay, let's take it with me.
Cool. At which point I'll say 5 minutes comes to an end and you're all on the road again. Are you once again reverting your path back toward this lone mountain off in the distance?
And I am going to do the most intensive, fast, borderline unsafe driving that I have ever done to
Very nice.
haul ass out of there.
All right, you do so. In that case, I'll need one more 1d6, please.
Is someone gonna get it? I can get it.
You
What's
got
that?
it.
Get it, Will. Get it.
6.
6. Father T, you are leaning sort of in the back here, dozing off a little bit in your weakened state, and a piece of paper floats and lands on your chest.
I just glance at it, pick it up, read it. It's what driving here. I've got a little else to do, but keep my mind occupied.
All right. It is a wanted poster by the looks of things, with a crude sketch cut into the parchment. It looks like a young man, maybe in his 20s, and it says at the bottom, Toral Valzire.
I'm gonna rip it up and toss it in the wind as we're driving.
Immediately you do. And with that, we'll have to pick up next time.
What?
Sweet.